All right, so it's my pleasure to invite Kelly Dine with us as our last speaker here before lunch. And you know, Kelly, I could have put you in either venue. It could have been baseball or it could have been veterans. And you know, I think that's one of the greatest things for why we wanted you aboard, is because you are incredibly versatile for our program. And I want to welcome you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor. Thank you.
So I know we're going to run out of time fast because I can talk to you forever. So let's just get right into this. I understand that you got 3 boys and a beautiful husband named Jeff. So tell us how you met Jeff and what life's like in the Dine house with all boys.
Well, if any of you are moms or maybe even dads of 3 sons, you know that can be a very interesting time, to say the least. But yes, Jeff and I met when Stephen and Alex were young. Stephen was 4 and Alex was 2. And he's been a fantastic father. And then we were blessed to have Aiden come into our lives. And so Aiden is now turning 16 in January. So he's working on getting his temps, and that's a little scary. But yeah, Stephen is 23 and Alex is 21. So it's always interesting having them around.
I have kids the same age as yours, but I have a boy and 2 girls. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I'm in the same boat as him with a boy and 2 girls.
Yeah, that's right. But I come from a family of 3 boys. So I know how rough your house is. And I feel bad for Aiden because I'm the youngest. But hey, you're a veteran as well. So talk a little bit about that, because that's really pretty cool.
Okay, thanks. I am a Navy veteran, and I entered the military through the Naval Academy. So I attended Annapolis from 1987 to 1989. A long story that I will make very, very short. I chose to leave the Naval Academy voluntarily. I had fallen in love, and we'll skip forward now. So anyhow, ended up not marrying the person that I fell in love with. But when I was voluntarily leaving, we had discussed me becoming a nurse. And my grades were still pretty good at the Naval Academy. A lot of people tried to talk me out of leaving. Of course, all I could see were stars and hearts in front of my eyes, you know. So at that time, there was an ROTC scholarship, brand new for the Navy, and they were seeking 5 women to take the scholarship. And at the time, it was a 2 for 4, so they would pay 2 years of school in return for 4 years of active duty. And typically, when you voluntarily leave an officer program, you're not allowed to re-enter another one. But somehow conditions were made, and there was an exception through the Department of Defense that said, if Academy, I will be allowed to re-enter ROTC for this nurse corps scholarship only, but for nothing else. So next thing I knew, I was leaving Annapolis, and I enrolled at Catholic University in Washington, D.C. And then I did my ROTC my last 2 years at George Washington University and a little bit at Georgetown. And then I was commissioned 3 days before my Annapolis peers. And then I ended up serving 4 years active duty in the Navy Nurse Corps. My ex-husband was a Marine. And go ahead, people, you can say it. So, but I was really fortunate. I was always stationed on Marine Corps bases with air wings. So we were at Cherry Point for 4 years. And
I'm an air winger. Let's go. I'm a
trust
pilot.
me, wait.
We were at Cherry Point for 4 years, and then we went to Okinawa. And once I came off of active duty with the intent to start a family, I had my first son, Stephen, in Okinawa. And unfortunately, he had some medical issues. And so Stephen and I were medevaced off of Okinawa back to Florida, right around the 2-year mark that we were in Okinawa. But I continued to serve then as a drilling reservist, and finished up my drilling reserve time in both Cleveland and in Akron. And then I was honorably discharged as a lieutenant commander in 2006, I think it was.
So we're the field grade club now.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. We got a field grade club right
here. A bunch of gold oak leaves. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah. So, but you know, there's a point there that I wanted to make known, is that the scholarship that you got to go to the Catholic University of America, I think you told me that was the first ever ROTC scholarship to the Navy Nurse Corps. Is that right?
That's right. It was the Navy's way of saying, hey, we're getting all of these other people in for ROTC in different occupations. How are we going to get nurses in? Because up until that point, they had waited until nurses had finished college and had passed their RN exams and gotten their RN license before they recruited them to like go to officer candidate school and come into the nurse corps. So this was their first attempt to see if an ROTC scholarship would work. So they gave out 5 that year, and I was one of the 5 to get that ROTC scholarship.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Are you still in the nursing field?
I am no longer in the nursing. Well, I'm not anymore officially, but I am now a teacher. So 6 years ago, I went back to school and earned my master's in education, and I am now a licensed biology teacher for high school.
Okay.
When I was looking for jobs, I was looking primarily at biology teaching jobs, but then when they learned that I had my RN background, I became a perfect fit for career education. So now I teach a 4-year biomedical science program at North High School in Akron.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, I'm married to a nurse, and then Greg's married to a teacher. So you hit the best of both worlds there. That's awesome. Great.
Yeah, there was I had something. Had something I was going to say, but I dropped it. So
that's because I interrupted.
Yeah, you just.
That happens to Marines sometimes. They lose a little.
You're like squirrel. So yeah, so you left the Navy, and you kind of went back into the I think you said you were a charge nurse at Cherry Point, but somewhere along the line, you managed to find yourself representing the Navy on the track and field team, throwing the javelin. Tell us about that.
So growing up, I was in a very athletic family, and my primary sport growing up was swimming. And so I swam pretty much year round, and I had actually earned full Division I scholarships to college for swimming, and then got recruited by the Naval Academy. But backing up a little bit into high school, the spring season was sort of the time when I could just have some fun. And a very good friend of mine who looked very identical to me, people thought we were sisters all the time. Her dad was an Olympic javelin thrower. And she knew I had played baseball and had played a little bit of softball, not much, mostly baseball. She knew I could throw. And she said, Kelly, she goes, you're not joining the softball team. She goes, you're going to come over here to the track and field team and throw the javelin. I'm like, okay. So I had never seen it before, but it was, growing up in Pennsylvania, javelin is legal. And I did okay at it. I was able to attend the state meet, I think 3 of the 4 years in the javelin. Maybe it was all 4 years. I can't remember. And then I went to the Naval Academy as a swimmer. And in the spring, at the Naval Academy, you have to stay involved in some kind of extracurricular athletic activity year round. So in the springtime, I joined the track and field team. Well, the men's javelin coach was also an Olympic javelin thrower. And he really mentored me, and I really started to do well. And I broke the record at the Naval Academy in the javelin. I qualified for the Navy championships. Unfortunately, then I left the Naval Academy, and I thought, well, I love this so much, I'm going to keep throwing the javelin. And unfortunately, I quit swimming. I kept javelin throwing. And once I got commissioned, I joined the Navy track and field team, which was really kind of cool. It was temporary active duty, and we would compete in meets like college meets, the Penn relays, things like that. We had the national championships coming up, the national military championships. But unfortunately, in practice one day, and I think we were down in Florida getting ready for a meet, I had actually worked my way up to throw the qualifying distance for the Olympic trials that year. And 3 throws later in that same practice, I ruptured my ACL, busted it completely. So we hobbled off of the track and found our way to a hospital. And that was the end of my Navy track and field career. Ended up going back to Cherry Point, and my CO was not real happy with me because now I had this big leg brace on, and ended up having an ACL surgery, but all is good. So.
I'm curious, what is the qualifying distance to throw the javelin? Do you know that off the top of your head?
I don't know what it is anymore. I'm sure it's a lot farther than what I used to throw. So
ballpark here. I mean, I'm looking at Matt's backyard and I'm thinking, we go get a broom. Could we throw that thing all the way across?
Good. Okay.
I think at the time I remember throwing around 155, 160 feet, somewhere in there.
In my backyard.
Yeah, we'd have to throw it over the house.
That's right.
All right.
That's
So,
funny.
so you were throwing the javelin and you left the Navy. How in the world did you get started in umpiring?
Well, remember that athletic family that I grew up in? My dad was huge into football and baseball, and so my little brother and I and my mom, the three of us, were always out there with my dad in the yard. My mom was one of those awesome women who, she would come in to get dinner ready, and she'd have bruises on her shins and be, wiping mud off her arms. She played center, out there. I mean, that was the kind of role model I had for my mom growing up.
Mhm.
So how did I get into umpiring? So once we had our sons, this became a baseball, football household for us. And the boys were enrolled in baseball at Little League initially. And no offense, guys, I was watching some men try to coach their baseball teams and doing some crazy things like telling those batters to get that elbow up. And I got a little frustrated at that. And being the person I am, I finally said to my husband, I'm going to coach baseball. So I did. I ended up coaching the baseball teams for our sons for about over 7 years' time. Won 4 league championships. Woo!
Yeah.
And then, but one day, walking home from the baseball park, which is just down the street from us, there was another field that had 2 teams there and no umpire. And it was a Saturday. It was a beautiful day. And I just, got that bright idea of, hey, I said, son, I'll see you at home later on. Tell dad that I'm staying over here for a while, and walked over to the field and said, hey, I'll do this. And I picked up one of those old balloons and a rusty mask that was in the bench. I mean, it didn't even fit me right. I was still trying to hold it up like this. And I can't remember if I used shin guards. I think there were shin guards in there as well. And I did some crazy things. I specifically remember in that game, the baseball landing right on home plate. And I came up huge. I'm like, foul, foul. Boy, I sold that one. And after the game, one of my son's dads came up and he's like, Kelly, if the ball lands on home plate, that's fair territory. I'm like, oops. But I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So from then on, it was trying to find somebody in Little League that would teach me how to umpire, and then just continuing to learn after that.
No.
Yeah. So how many years have you been umpire?
Total, it's been over 10 years now. So this would have been the 11th summer that I started umpiring.
Wow.
Since I started umpiring.
Yeah,
So,
that's really cool.
All right, say that again. How many years?
This would have been the 11th year this summer. It is the 11th year since I started umpiring.
So
Yeah.
11 years since she started umpiring. And what is the highest level of baseball that you work currently?
Well, currently I work NCAA Division I non-conference games. That was one of my goals. And then I also work NCAA Division II and III and NAIA, both conference and non-conference games.
That's amazing. 11 years.
That's awesome.
That's congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you're currently, the only one. Are you the only female working in Division I baseball right now?
I am. Yes.
Wow.
So
Tons of fun with you. This is great.
All right. So here's what's so cool. What's so cool, and there's one, like I mentioned earlier, she's about 10 feet from us right now, is that you are such a role model for so many women out there. And that's incredible. And one of the things, I've only been with the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy a year, but there's a lot of females, or some females, that have gone through the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy. Shantoya is right over there. And so I think that is absolutely cool, because what is your thoughts on how can we get more women involved like you to become umpires?
Well, first of all, hi, Shantoya. Did I sound it? I'm sorry. Did I say it right?
Yeah. Perfectly.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. By the way, there's a lot of ways that I think we can. Hey. There are a lot of ways that I think we can start to recruit women, but sometimes I upset people when I tell men, especially, that I need you to try to picture yourselves in our shoes. And it's really easy for veterans to do this. You've all worked alongside of women. You understand some of the challenges that we've gone through, especially those of you that have been veterans of my era. So, growing up, going to the Naval Academy, and then being an officer, uniforms were hard. For instance, we were still wearing men's uniforms. They were just really starting to kind of tailor women's uniforms, but it was guys making women's uniforms, So why didn't we have women making women's uniforms so they would fit us better? There was little things, when I was in the military, at the Naval Academy in the summer, we'd had to do training. And I think this one instance that I'm about to talk about, it's a little bit of a deviation, but it kind of set me up for life and understanding how life worked. But at the Naval Academy in the summer, we had to do what were called cruises. Yeah, no, well, they're not really cruises. So we had to pick some kind of training to attend. And at the time, there was another female swimmer on the swim team with me. And we decided that we wanted to go to dive school. We wanted to go to SEER school. We wanted to go to dive school. That was our big thing. So they put us all in the water. And believe it or not, this other girl and I actually made the qualifying list. And about a month before summer cruises started, we both were informed that, oh, by the way, because you wear corrective lenses, you will not be able to participate. And yet, on that same list of guys, there was probably 12 or 13 of them that wore corrective lenses, And that was frustrating as a woman to accomplish this and then simply be told, and you could read through it, you know exactly why. I remember another time that we were in training and we were on the range and we were firing the Berettas. And then at some point we moved into rifle training and we were on the ground and a photographer had come through and taken a close-up picture of me. And all you could really see was my face, and then you could see my finger on the trigger. And apparently they were using that for publicity purposes. Well, at some point in time later on, I learned that they would not use the photo. Apparently it was because my finger was incorrectly on the trigger.
Yeah.
But, what it was at that time, it wasn't accepted to see a woman next to a gun, next to a rifle. I mean, they didn't do that, So you fast forward here, and forgive me, like I said, I got way off track there. But as far as recruiting more women, it's I think a lot of times having guys understand that there's little things that occur that you might not even notice on a daily basis. Like, for instance, one of my things is referring to umpiring as a brotherhood. It just, as soon as I hear the word brother, I'm like, wait, I'm a sister. Don't I belong too? And I've had people argue with me. I'm like, well, if you look in the dictionary, the definition of brotherhood is, fraternity. Well, wait a minute. Fraternity at college is a male, house, and a sorority is a female house. So I understand. I totally get, like the military, that this has always been a man's world, so to speak. But, now in the military, we're up to 19% females, right? It's still an uneven balance, and we need to try to recruit more. With the selective service, I wonder if that's going to change, where now women will be required to register for the draft like men. Will that really bring those numbers up? And getting back into umpiring, I think it's those little things. Can we start to make uniforms and protective gear for women? Jim Kirk with Umpire.com has put together a committee of us, 4 of us, female umpires, to start to look at that safety gear, especially. We're tackling that first, and then uniforms. So that we don't have to wear men's stuff. I'm lucky in being as tall and large framed as I am that I can fit into a lot of the chest protectors, and I can wear the New Balance plate shoes. But, New Balance only goes down to a men's size 8, right? Is it size 8 or size 6? Yes, exactly. So we have a lot of women out there who love to umpire, who do umpire. And I'll tell you what, they suffer a lot of broken toes. Yeah. So they're using shoes that maybe have a composite toe instead of a steel toe, or they're trying to go and get steel-toed boots somewhere to wear. And that just, from our aspect then, we just want to look like everyone else. We don't want to stand out because we're wearing gear that doesn't look like everyone else's. Oh. And I kind of asked men a lot. I said, think about the opposite. Let's say you were going into healthcare. Maybe you want to become a nurse as a guy, and you go to the store to buy your scrubs or your nursing clothes, and they're all female. Yeah. Wouldn't you be upset, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. So those are some little things that I think we can change. When emails go out to baseball associations, don't address the email as gentlemen. How about just hello, everyone? Recruiting women, if at all possible, we need to recruit women. Veterans, I say all the time, make the best umpires. Kudos to all of you. I love the idea of the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy. It's a phenomenal organization that, we make the best umpires. We have that professionalism. We have that military background to guide us, and you know, what a great thing to have. But you know, I would encourage males especially to really reach out to women too. You know, it's easier to find other guys or young men, you know, even high schoolers to come in and umpire, but let's really start asking girls. And from a young age, you know, instead of expecting girls to play softball all the time, let's encourage them to stay in baseball, keep them in baseball, and open those doors for them as well.
Yeah, I think it's a consciousness of knowing that, you know, maybe you do or maybe you don't, but when you put out that invite, or you, like you said with that email, gentlemen, welcome to the associate, you know, it's making a conscious effort of realizing that you're alienating an audience. I mean, when marketing 101 in your business classes, it's like, do you want to alienate a certain group? And you inadvertently do it. But I wanted to move on from this, but before I did, I wanted to point out, I remember one year we had a staff member from the Wounded Warrior Battalion West, and she came out, and she was, I think, maybe 80 pounds soaking wet, and she needed a size 5 or a 5.5, and we literally didn't have anything, and they gave me the smallest thing we had, and she had to wear a 7. That's why I think the number was 7, because she was like, she literally said, "I feel like a duck." But she was a trooper. She got out there and she did the best she could with what we would give her. But so I know, and I know you got a hard stop here at noon to get back to class, but you've got a sign behind you that says 2019 World Series, Williamsport. So I want to go back to that time that you got the call and the challenge that you had to just say yes. So talk to us about that.
So the call to go to Williamsport actually was in the form of a letter, and we affectionately refer to that letter in the Little League world as the golden ticket. So you work your way up in Little League, you gain your experience from going from the sectionals to the districts to the regionals, and you must attend a regional in order to ever attend a World Series. And at the regional, you're evaluated by an umpire crew, and you either earn a recommendation for a World Series, or you earn a recommendation to participate in another regional and gain some more experience and skill. It was some years back, 2013, that I earned my recommendation for the World Series, and then it becomes a waiting list. So the time seemed right for me to go ahead and apply, even though I felt like that there were others who have been waiting a lot longer than I have. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would get that golden ticket, but I was home on Christmas break from school and decided to go out to the mailbox, which I never get a chance to do if I'm at school. And as I'm walking in from the driveway, there was a thin letter from Little League International. And you know, somewhere in the back of my head, I remembered hearing that, listen, Little League doesn't send out rejection letters. They never have. You either get a ticket, a golden ticket, or you get nothing. And so I saw this thin letter and I thought, oh, they must have changed this year. You know, this looks like a rejection letter from a college. Like, thank you for applying, try again, you know? So I truly thought that if it was going to be like a golden ticket, an acceptance letter, it would be some big packet, like from a college admission. I walked in the kitchen and opened up this letter just half-heartedly. And the first word I saw was congratulations. And then, yeah, that was really cool. It was really awesome. My whole family happened to be in the kitchen at the time, and they saw my reaction. I started crying a little bit, so my husband took that letter, make sure I wouldn't get any more tears on it, because there's no crying in baseball, right? So,
no evidence to leave behind either, so we're taking that. So you struggled with the decision to actually go, did you?
A little bit. My husband's been ill. He's been battling cancer for, it'll be 5 years around Halloween that he found out that he had leiomyosarcoma, which is a really rare cancer, normally of the soft tissue, like breast tissue. His settled in his bone, and it's settled in his sacral bone, which is at the bottom of the spine. So he had a 28-hour surgery in January of 2016 to remove a softball-sized tumor. He survived, which was awesome. He's my Superman. Pretty incredible guy. He's lost a lot of function because of that. You know, cancer does a number on you, and it hasn't been an easy battle since. He's had metastasis to other sites, chemo, infections, but you know, the bottom line is it is 1 foot forward, day by day, 1 foot forward, and he's our Superman. So
shout out to Jeff. Thinking about you guys all the time, and ever since I learned of the story, it's just taken to me very well, as you and I have had that conversation a little bit before. So,
But he's your biggest champion, right? So what did he
Oh,
say?
absolutely. I could never have done any of this without him. And I mean, to marry a guy who's okay with his wife going and coaching baseball, let alone umpiring baseball, and then, think about this, I am always around men. So for instance, every 2 years for NCAA, we have to go to a clinic. And the first one I attended was a year ago. And there were like 602 guys and one girl in this hotel in Chicago. And my husband just, you know what, God love him. I mean, he just sends me with his blessings, and yeah, I would never be here without his support, and the kids. It's been hard on the kids too.
Yeah, so in and among all of this that we're talking about here, you've got quite a laundry list of organizations that you volunteer for. So,
Yeah.
oh,
Here they come.
Sorry, I had somebody coming down the stairs, and I'm like, no.
we have to shut it off real quick.
Sorry.
So I want to hear a little bit about your work with the volunteer organizations. There's this organization, Valor Home, and the American Diabetes Association. So talk to us about your work with those guys.
Okay. The American Diabetes Association was an easy one for us. My son, our youngest son, Aiden, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the ripe old age of 15 months old. He was a baby, a toddler. And so he's been battling diabetes now for almost 15 years. My husband's work at the time was a sponsor of the American Diabetes Association. So that's how we became involved with them. Aiden was born with a gift of gab. He's an amazing kid. At 8 years old, he was testifying in front of the Ohio Senate for a bill that was the Safe at School with Diabetes bill. And believe it or not, at 8 years old, he sounded like a pro. It was amazing. So that's really kept us involved. But locally and more, I think maybe just more importantly to me is the Valor Home, which is actually called the Harry Donovan Valor Home of Summit County. And it is a nonprofit organization. It falls under Family and Child Services. And the Valor Home's mission is to take in previously homeless vets. And what they do is they bring the veterans into the Valor Home. They can stay anywhere from a year to 2 years. It is a transitional housing facility. And while they're there, they receive daily therapies, including music therapy, art therapy, anger management. It's an amazing array of group counseling, individual counseling. They start to learn life skills. So each veteran has their own room. They have a community bathroom that they share. They all are responsible. They take on chores and understand how to take care of a home. But they learn other life skills, things like balancing a checkbook or riding a city bus, how to purchase a bus ticket and ride a bus, job interviewing skills. And the goal is that by the time a veteran is ready to leave the Valor Home, they help them with finding their own apartment. They move in and start to find a job and hopefully not go back to the homeless situation again. So it's an amazing place. They average around 35 residents at a time. And there's the Valor Home that we work with, the Harry Donovan, is an all-male facility. They don't have any combined facilities, but they just recently opened up a female facility and it's called Liberty Home, Summit Liberty, I'm sorry. So now have a facility for female veterans as well.
That's awesome. Great. And like I said at the start of this, we could probably talk to you all day, but I know you're at a 1200 stop time, and that's right where we're at now. So I don't want to ask you any more questions because I don't want the principal to walk in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it back over to you. But before I do, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. And I know we're in discussions as board members, and I've already kind of shared this with you a little bit, but for everybody else listening, we're definitely going to be looking at sending you an invite to come out and help us with the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy as on staff this next year. So we're really looking forward to that, and I think you'll be a wonderful addition to our organization. Yep. But I want to turn it over to you for the last word.
Well, thanks. I am so excited. When I first, like I've told you before, when I first heard about the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy, I thought, what an amazing mission. There's no greater mission. To all of you, thank you for your service. It's an honor to serve alongside you, and And, you know, I applaud you for moving into this field of umpiring. I love it. It's a passion. It's a stress relief for me. It's a therapy for me. I can't see my life without officiating. For all of you, know that I am, you know, your lifelong sister. If you need anything at all, you can reach out to me day or night, 24/7. I'll give you my cell number. You can FaceTime me, whatever you need. I'm here for you. But, you know, I know that many of you are struggling with a lot of challenges. Sometimes those challenges aren't very apparent, and sometimes it's not something that you want to talk about. We all have challenges too, in different ways. And, you know, don't bear that burden alone. Understand that you've got brothers and sisters around the world that will hold you up and carry you if you need carried, okay? So thank you so much for having me, though. It's been a blessing and an honor to be here. Thank you.
Kelly, thank you so much. You know, and I know I'm speaking on behalf of myself and Greg and the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy, but you're just, you know, I wish we could have got more into, hopefully we can come out and get more into the, you know, what you did at Little League World Series. But like I said, you're a mentor, and just, you know, keep doing what you're doing, because I think it's incredible what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now go get in class and
Yeah.
Yeah.
First day with students. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Bye.